Thank you, Hiroki. First of all, I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to speak at the SIAC Academy today. My opinion, there aren't too many forums in the world where young practitioners and aspiring lawyers can get the kind of training that the SIAC Academy provides every year. So congratulations to the SIAC. I'll be speaking about persuasive written advocacy, and we can speak about this topic all day. However, considering I have less than 5 minutes, I will briefly go through some tips that I think can be useful for young lawyers. When talking about written advocacy, one must always keep in mind that improving it is a lifelong process, not a qualifying test that you can pass and then move on. We're all continuously learning. I've been a lawyer for 24 years now, and I'm still learning and improving. That's the nature of this activity. Let me begin by saying that the point of writing that we do is not expression. It's not to demonstrate that we are the best writers. No, it has a fixed purpose. That is to persuade the tribunal toward a position that is beneficial to your client. Too often I find that young practitioners are more concerned with demonstrating how well they can write. Therefore, always keep remembering to keep the following basics in mind. Your challenge is to use an often lengthy and tedious written medium to persuade a tribunal composed of suspicious and experienced lawyers. Simply put, never forget what your purpose is, which is to convince the tribunal, what your medium is, lengthy memorial witness statements, who your audience is, suspicious and busy arbitrators. Let these basics inform your advocacy. Clarity is essential because your audience does not have the time or inclination to spend time admiring your art. They need to be persuaded, and they don't want to waste too much time. So while you keep these basics in mind, let me also give you a few things to think about. First, while it's important to find or discover your own writing style, it is perhaps really important to ensure that you do the basics right. Well, while you will, with time, find your own voice and a unique method that you employ, but there's no shame in looking at what others are doing and learn from them. In fact, it is an essential skill. I remember back in 1997 when I was a young lawyer, I just started BKL. Korea still had a 6-day work week, and I would come to the office on the weekends and go to the BKL public folder on my computer and systematically go through the submissions the firm had filed in other cases. That's to try and pick up the language I want to use and common mistakes I wanted to avoid. Over time, in the next 5 years or so, we went up against and worked with some of the leading law firms in arbitration. The Debevoise, the Freshfields, the Shearmans. I looked at their submissions and observed their style, structure, phrases that I could draw from, and I could practice in language that was commonly used in persuasive written advocacy. I remain convinced that to improve your written advocacy, you should look at what those around are doing and learn from them. This is a part of your own self-development. Second, this is something that I've seen a lot of talented young lawyers do, and that I recommend all of you to avoid. Stop trying to get everything right in the first step. You're not going to write a masterpiece in the first draft, and that's okay. You're not expected to. Too many young lawyers miss deadlines as they just try to keep writing the big thing. You must pause, understand that good written advocacy is a collaborative process. Finally, building on that, I will briefly illustrate what I think is a useful method of planning a draft. It might be better to write your outline first, sit and figure out what you want to argue, what your headings are, your subheadings. Then write down what you believe are your best arguments in bullet point or non-prose form. Then you build your structure. Check it if it's solid. Get the opinions of others. Are you missing something? Check and then proceed to write the prose then. Build your end product bit by bit, not in one go. To conclude, I would just like everyone starting out to remember that improving one's written advocacy is a lifelong project, and that we all must keep focusing on. But there are several simple, small things that we can do to ensure significant benefits. Thank you.